So I don't know if you guys are like me, but when I shoot people at a long distance, I realize that I have to actually tap shots. I can't just hold the trigger and shoot, because then it's very hard to stay on target unless I'm using guns like the M13 or the Kilo and stuff like that. But have you guys ever noticed that if you watch some kill cams, there's dudes who just laser you with the most unpredictable guns at long distance? It just doesn't make sense. Well, let's be honest. Some of them are hacking, some of them are using Cone Zens, but there are people out there who have immaculate accuracy control, and that's what I wanted to aim myself to do. I wanted to go out and get the best aim I possibly could without using anything but a basic PlayStation 5 controller, so no add-ons, nothing like that, except for Control Freaks, which are amazing, and you guys could use code SNICK for 10% off. Those things are great, but besides that, I wasn't using anything. No scripts, no cheats, no hacks, nothing. And I want to show you guys how to go ahead and make your aim so much better, because there's a lot of things you guys could do that you're just not doing whatsoever to make your aim amazing in Call of Duty. And there is so much, but we're just going to talk about 5 main things and maybe one bonus tip that I did that made me a lot better. So the first thing that you want to do on this list at number 1 is to open your settings. Now we're going to talk about sensitivity, but not just any sensitivity. I'm not going to tell you guys, oh, you got to use a 4 sensitivity. No, we're not going to talk about that. We're actually going to go more into detail about this. I'm going to tell you guys exactly what I did to help me get a lot better at this game. And it might sound unorthodox, but trust me, it's good. So the first thing I did was I set my dead zone to 0. And when you set your dead zone to 0, this gives you full range of control on your joysticks, which is great. That's what I like. Some people don't like it, but I did set mine to 0, and it's great. Now, the actual sensitivity itself doesn't matter at all, which might sound weird. A lot of people tell you guys, oh, you got to play on this sensitivity, this and that, and it works. But the actual sensitivity means nothing. Like, you could just forget about that. Put it on whatever you want. Now, what I will suggest is play on a sensitivity that's high enough to turn on people, but not too high where you have trouble snapping on to smaller targets at longer distances. So I'll tell you guys, I keep mine at a solid 8. You could obviously keep it at a 6, put it up to a 10, a 12, who cares? Play what you're comfortable at, because your actual sensitivity doesn't mean anything when you're actually aiming at targets. Now let's talk about the ADS sensitivity multiplier at high and low zooms, because this is the one that actually matters the most when you're taking those shots, when you're making those shots on people. So a low zoom is anything that's a point or a 3.25 magnification or less. So if you guys are using the VLK 3-time optic, that is a low zoom. You need to know that. If you're using iron sights, that is a low zoom. Now, there's 2 things that I tested, and one of them, I tested it playing at a 1.25 sensitivity, which was crazy. It was hard to stay on target anywhere above 50 meters. It was very hard because the targets get smaller. The people get smaller the further away they are, and it's really hard to just stick to them if you're playing at a higher sensitivity, because if they're moving and you're moving your joystick, you're gonna miss a lot of shots. Then what I did is I turned it really low. I put it to a 0.75, and this was actually a number that I found to be perfect when shooting at longer distances. 0.75, I was able to remain on targets. I was able to keep up with them if they were running away really fast, and it felt like I had aimbot, so that was really nice. Now, with this being said, I suggest playing anywhere from a 0.65 all the way up to a 0.90. You should not play higher than that unless you're really, really good at controlling those sensitivities. Now let's talk about the high zoom before we move on to tip number 2 here. And the high zoom is anything above a 3.25, so mostly snipers and stuff like that. For high zoom, I find anywhere from a 0.75 all the way to a 1 to be perfect. The higher you put it, the harder it's going to be to snap on them with the sniper. And we all know with snipers, we have to be 100% accurate or you're not getting those kills. So play it a little bit lower. Trust me guys, it does work. Now if you are up close to people, a 0.75 might be a little too slow, which is why I said for the low zoom, the 3.25 or less, maybe play at like a 0.80, 0.90, but a 0.75 still works for me, and that's what I play on all the time. The gameplay you're watching is on these settings. Now at number 2, you gotta learn how to snap on enemies, man. You can't just play the game and then try to aim at them and then shoot. What I like to do, and it's really hard, so to snap on enemies, it's really hard to get used to. You gotta follow that little circle in the middle of your screen. That little circle is always there. If you're sprinting, it's there. No matter what, it's always there. If you think an enemy is in the window, you want to be aiming that little circle, your crosshairs, at that window already. If you think an enemy is behind a corner, you want to be aiming it at that corner before the enemy jumps out. Now this is good because it allows you guys to just aim down sights. You don't have to adjust anything. You can just shoot them and it's easy. Boom, they're dead. But another thing is when you're running and you don't know where enemies enemies are. How do you snap on them? Well, what I like to do is when I'm adjusting my aim, if an enemy runs out in front of me, while I'm adjusting my aim, I'm already going to start shooting my gun. So before I even ADS, I'm going to be shooting a little bit in case some of those shots, those hipfire shots, actually do hit the target. It makes it that much easier when I am aiming down sights. And this is what I like to do. I like to aim down sights when I'm not even directly on target yet. And this helps out a lot for some reason, because once you fully aim down sights, you should be able to move on to the target, start shooting, and do your nasty work. But enough about that. Enough about snapping on enemies. That takes a little bit of practice. You guys are just going to have to try that out on your own. Let's go to actually tip number 3, which doesn't have much to do with your aiming, but more about your placement. So making yourself a harder target to hit is amazing in so many ways. One, you're a hard target to hit. You will probably get the kill before the enemy does. But now we're talking about aim. So this sounds like it won't help. It sounds pretty much counterintuitive. Why would you want to make yourself a hard target to hit and hide yourself just to aim better? Well, if you could hide behind objects like a rock, maybe a window or something like that, or a wall or anything, once you get shot at, you're going to be very hard to hit. They're going to have a hard time shooting you. This means that you're going to be drastically reducing your chances of flinching in a gunfight, which could really make or break your opportunity for that next kill. So if you're shooting at someone and you have 0 flinch, you should have no problem staying on target. Now, if you're shooting at someone and you're out in the open and he starts shooting at you as well, you might flinch a bit, your gun might shoot up, and you're going to be missing bullets. So trust me, make yourself a hard target to hit and it'll help you out a lot. Now, let's go down to number 4. And again, this one might be a little counterintuitive, but it does work out a lot. Now, you want to aim for the chest. You never want to aim for the head. If you aim at the head and then your gun has recoil or you have flinch or anything, the shots are going to move above the head, meaning you're missing the target completely. What you should be aiming at is the chest. 1, the chest is the biggest part of the enemy's body, so it's the easiest target to actually aim at. 2, it does the second most damage after the head. And 3, if you're shooting at the chest and then your gun kicks up because of the recoil, you're going to automatically hit his head, doing a lot more damage. So if you aim at the chest, it's a lot better than aiming at the head. Now, there is one thing I would like to say. If you are really up close, like anywhere between 10 and 15 meters or closer, you might want to aim at the head. Then I would suggest aiming at the head. But anything further than that, like 1 room distance away, I would suggest aiming at the chest every single time. Don't aim at the legs. Never aim at the legs. If you're the type of player who you don't know where you aim at, you just aim and shoot, put it in your mind every single game you go into. Say, I'm going to aim for the chest. Just say it over and over again, and you'll actually start doing it again. You got to make that adjustment, man, or else you're just going to keep dying. Now let's talk about a bonus tip before I get into the last one. So for each weapon you use, unless you're using like the M13 that barely has recoil, or the Kilo, or even the Ram 7 at that, but for every other weapon that you use, they all have their own distinct spray pattern. So what I suggest doing is getting onto Modern Warfare, going into a private match, and start shooting at a wall. Then you'll see where the bullets hit on the wall. You can see the recoil patterns and stuff like that, and this will help you out in terms of figuring out how to actually control this gun and glue onto enemies. So if you see that the recoil goes from center all the way up and to the right, that means that when you're playing the game, what you want to do is control your right joystick. Instead of going up with it, you don't want to go up with it, you want to control it. So if it goes up and right, you bring your right joystick a little bit down and a little bit left. And then you got to keep playing with that joystick while you're in a gunfight so you can actually keep it centered. And what I like to do is I like to find like a little crack on the wall or a little tiny sign on the wall, something that I could aim at from a distance and try to shoot that and not get off target and not tap fire. I like to fully spray it and just shoot at that little target. Then I go back, I look at that target afterwards, and I see where my bullets fell off. If they fell off towards the left, then I'm going a little too much left with my joystick. I shouldn't be doing it that strong. And you guys could just do this over and over until you realize that you could actually stay on target, and it's super easy. Now, the last tip number 5, you want to stay in Modern Warfare for this one, because this one's going to help you out a lot. I really suggest, and I've been doing this for years, and I always suggest it, man. If you guys know me, you know what I'm talking about. When you go into a private match, don't start the game yet, put it on the smallest map, it doesn't matter, put it on Shoot House, turn it to headshots only. Headshots only is going to help you out a lot, but don't only do that. Turn off your aim assist. Go to the settings and completely turn off your aim assist. Also, you want to put the radar always on. You want to put as many bots on as possible and set them to recruit. I don't care if they shoot back at you. You shouldn't either. You're just there to practice your aim. You're not there to get shot at. And not only that, you seriously just set it to headshots only. Put it to headshots only. So this way, even if you shoot at the body, it doesn't count whatsoever. You won't get the kill. And even if it's at headshots only, you'll easily be able to practice your aim. It's such a small target to hit. Just go kill like 300 bots as fast as you can, only aiming at the head, and put them on max health as well. So it's like Warzone pretty much at 250, and this is going to help you out tremendously. Go back onto Warzone, turn your aim assist on, and you're going to feel like an aimbot god. But that is it, man. If you guys did enjoy it, like I said at the beginning of the video, if you want to get yourself a pair of control freaks, drop the code iDoNick and save yourself 10% off. Subscribe to the channel if you guys are around here with those notifications turned on. If you guys could drop a like if you enjoyed it, I would truly appreciate that. Thanks for watching. My name is Nick, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.